as long as it's been known in China that Falun Gong has been categorized as an evil cult simply because the practicers far outnumber the government staff. Now, one day, Zhang's wife received tragic news. Her husband had vanished en route to the airport, and no word of him had been heard since. One man hurt, but one man too many. Stories of religious prosecution like these are not just confined to China, but are commonplace all over the world, often in disturbingly high frequencies. That is why it is a privilege to live in the United States of America. These rights that have watched over us since childhood, guaranteeing our freedom, are often taken for granted within the United States and are still fought over in lesser countries worldwide. Yet it is these rights that were bequeathed to us by our very own founding forefathers who sought to forge a better nation for us from the 13 colonies held under the thrall of King George III. And look where we are today. We are a free nation, held in awe by the rest of the world as one of the greatest superpowers in the world. Now, where do we owe our thanks to? Well, we can start by analyzing the Constitution of the United States. Now, it is distressing how much the youth of today would rather take their lessons from Facebook and texting rather than from the lessons of history. And what better teacher is there than the Constitution of the United States? Now, take, for example, your unalienable rights. The 3 basic rights entail to everyone, from the oldest senior citizen to a newborn baby in our mother's arms. The rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Now, folks, what is life without the right to freedom and happiness? In fact, what is life without the right to live? So today, it is up to us to understand that which protects us all against these malignant forces, and that we can by extension understand the line of the Star-Spangled Banner, the land of the free, and the home of the brave. Now tonight I will be going over this through 2 key points of analysis. First, how the First Amendment protects our basic human rights, and second, how the Second Amendment may prove to be a double-edged sword today. Now at first glance, the Constitution appears to be a meaningless jumble of clauses, legalities, and amendments, all jumbled together in the code of legal speak. Yet, one does not have to read too far into this Constitution to start appreciating its benefits. Let's dissect the First Amendment. First, your right to freedom of religion. America holds within her several diversities of people who all have their own ways to view God. Muslims, Jews, Christians, Hindus, the list goes on and on. And these people can practice their religion in broad daylight anywhere in the States at any time without any fear of prosecution. Now, what if these people were transplanted to, say, some Middle Eastern country? Well, why don't we ask Paulus Robs, Christian bishop who was blown by a bomb and now lies in a funeral casket? Or we analyze our right to the freedom of speech. Now, this amendment has been in effect since 1776, our country's inception, yet is sorely lacking from the histories of other countries. Take 1905 Russia, in which citizens marching across the square to the Tsar's palace were shot down by their own military. Or we take 1980s China, in which citizens in Tiananmen Square, protesting against the communist government peacefully, are rolled over and shot at by the government's own tanks. Yet even now today, 2 men have long since set up shop in Washington, D.C. to protest against how the government is dispensing their taxes to various policies. And where is that show taking place? Right in the White House's own backyard for several years. On one hand, we have people who are punished for expressing their basic views, and on the other hand, we have people who are quote-unquote slandering the government and are not prosecuted at all for it. When one thinks of these people who have the enormous freedom to express who they are to the government, what their opinions are, that one person grows to appreciate the document that entails such freedom. Now, I've waxed eloquent about the Constitution for the past few minutes, but a word of caution. There's often a rotten patch hidden within the good. Consider a heated debate topic of today, the Second Amendment of the Constitution, the right to bear arms. Now, back in 1776, this amendment and its benefits were of sore necessity to anyone hoping to free his or her nation from the might of the British. And we are free today. Yet this amendment still continues to prove its value when citizens continue to keep their vigil against various domestic threats consisting of robbers, lunatics, and strangers. Strange, sadistic beings who gain nothing more than perverse pleasure from the hurts of others. Now, it is entitled to the citizen, as per the Second Amendment, to have a means to defend themselves against said domestic threats. Yet, it is this very same amendment that allows for equal chance for a plethora of dangerous weapons to end up either in the hands of a law-abiding citizen or in the hands of a malicious criminal. It is disquieting to think that the very same amendment that protects your rights to defend yourself also hands your common criminal more ways to hurt you and your family. Have the Founding Fathers erred in their writing? The truth is, we don't know. They aren't around to explain their writings to us anymore. Therefore, it falls to us, as citizens under the Constitution, to determine where and when the Second Amendment should be implemented. It falls to us, as human beings possessed of common sense, to determine how far the Second Amendment should be stretched. It is true that the Constitution is a wonderful piece of work that continues to protect our rights day in and day out. Yet everything has a gray side to it. And it falls to us to decide whether the Second Amendment is more of the black or more of the white. Now, the Constitution has long since evolved from a simple document intending to provide unification for the 13 colonies into a master document that provides adamantine protection to your rights. Just the First Amendment provides the necessity for you to speak your opinion to the crowd. On a biological scale, this is simply an organism who is communicating with the rest of the population so that population can decide the best course for their continued survival. Yet every side has a gray side. Every legal document has a side that can be interpreted differently, sometimes far more drastically than others would think. This is seen with the Second Amendment, but with a careful guard and wary common sense, we can win past these slips of the pen and continue to bask in the light shed upon the United States by her Constitution. Understanding is key for us to know that which protects us all. It is up to us and everyone in the United States to appreciate those rights that we may or may not take for granted, and thus we can empathize with those who are disadvantaged. Understanding is key, for with understanding comes the hopes of a better generation that can unite our world into a whole. I hope that tonight you can come to see why the Constitution is such a valuable document in today's society, and that you can truly now see why Francis Scott Key would categorize America in the Star-Spangled Banner as the land of the free and the home